Doug Casey here, Down to Earth Golf. Today I want to talk about the wedges and some things you might want to try with your wedge play. Because it's really frustrating to get in there 60 to 100 yards from the green, or maybe a little further or closer, and then you fat it or you thin it and you hit it way over the green, or you hit it 10 yards and then you got to hit it again. Very frustrating. You want to make these lofty clubs your friend. You want to be able to hit them close if you can, and you want to be able to score with them. So the main thing with wedges usually isn't direction. Usually you can hit it pretty well in direction. It's usually distance control, and the main thing with distance control is contact. How do you make good contact consistently, and also hopefully have consistent spin. I have people tell me or ask me how do I get spin. I say, well, spin is just spin. It's just when you hit a solid shot, you're going to get it or not, depending on the conditions. And you might have to figure that out with the conditions of the green and conditions where you're hitting. But you want to have consistent spin, so all of a sudden one doesn't jump way forward on you when you think it's not going to, or spin way back on you when you don't think it's going to. And maybe we'll talk about that at a later time. First of all, let's talk about making good contact with the wedges. I've talked about the low point of the swing. So obviously you're going to swing down, and at some point the swing's going to come up, and you're going to have a low point of that swing. You're going to get closer here maybe. What I would like you to understand for the wedge swing is I call it a flat spot. I'd like to have a long flat spot at the bottom of my swing. Rather than coming down steeply and up steeply, I'd like to have a very nice long flat spot at the bottom of my swing. The bigger that flat spot, bigger than my margin for error, the better my contact's going to be. I picture it more like an airplane landing than I do about something coming down steeply. Okay, so when I hit this wedge, I want to picture that the club's coming in this way. It's getting closer to the ground, obviously, and it's kind of hitting the grass there, then hitting the ball, and then taking a divot. And if you really take deep divots, or you have trouble hitting it fat a lot, maybe you try not to take a divot. That's okay too. Again, big flat spot. Well, how do you do that? Well, a couple things. First of all, we don't want our body to move around a lot, so I'd rather have a narrower stance with my wedges. I don't want to have a big wide stance because that may promote a little bit of body movement. Don't want that. So I'm going to have a narrow stance. Why don't I want body movement? Well, I want the bottom of my swing to be consistent on where it is, and if I have some body movement, my bottom of my swing might change, and that will make it harder to hit solid shots. So feet closer together. I would tend to open the stance. I tend to aim a little left for a right-handed golfer. I talked about another video called Angle of Attack or D-plane. So if you want to go watch that, but try to open your stance a little bit. It will help. Again, I don't want to move around, so I'd rather start with 60, 65, 70% of my weight on my front foot and mostly keep it there, especially for short shots, like 40, 50-yard shots that I'm not taking anywhere near a full swing. I'm going to basically play it off. I'm going to play with my weight or my pressure on my front foot, my lead foot. I don't want to have a big weight transfer in these wedge swings. Okay? So those will help. So again, if I show you that swing, put more weight on my lead foot here, okay, this one, and just stay there. I have a better chance of making good contact. Then, if I tend to move a little bit back, and then move forward. Try that, really good. Even if you have trouble with this, put all your weight. Like even do a drill, you put all your weight on your lead foot and hit some balls that way, or just lean into it this way. Notice when I lean into it. Bring this up. I'm not leaning this way. I'm not tilting my spine or moving my upper body forward. I'm leaning in this way. So that's how I'm putting my weight on my lead foot. By moving my hips a little bit and by just putting the pressure on it. I'm not moving my weight on it, I guess. So let's put more pressure on that foot. Let's use that word. Okay. If I am more upright, hear people say, well, a wedge swing has to be more upright. Nah, I disagree with that. The more upright I get, most likely the steeper I'm going to get. Again, the steeper I get, the less margin for error I have. So use your normal swing plane. Don't make it too steep. Okay? Also, goes back to wrist action. If I really cock my wrists a lot, get into this kind of thing, well, the more I cock my wrists, usually the steeper I'm going to be tougher it is to control. So a guy like Phil Mickelson, he tends to have a lot of wrist set, and it works very well for him. When he started to work with, I think it was Dave Peltz, on his wedge game, they took some wrists out of it. So you'll notice that Phil hits a lot of shots now with his wedges where he just kind of sets it like that. It doesn't even get to 90 degrees, I don't think. Just sets it there and goes through. One of the better wedge players in the game, Steve Stricker, same thing, very, very little hand action. Tiger Woods used to rip at his wedges. Now he takes more of a 3/4 swing. And again, doesn't use those wrist hinge to generate speed or power. Those things, narrow stance, more weight in the lead foot, and don't move around during your swing. Try to limit the wrist hinge. Try to limit the wrist hinge. And picture having a big flat spot at the bottom of your swing. That will help you become a better wedge player. The other thing is, don't try to hit your wedges too far. The better players in the game, their most lofted club, in my bag is 58, it might be 60, it might be 56, whatever it is in your bag, your most lofted club. Don't use that very often. Only use it around the green and the bunkers, maybe for flop shots, things like that. I don't use it very often, even from 50, 40 yards. I've got a 54-degree wedge, that's the one I'm using. The more loft you use, the tougher it is to make that good contact consistently, and also the higher you're going to hit the ball, which is harder to control how far you hit it. Don't try to hit your wedges high. You actually want to flight them fairly low if you can. Much more controllable. But in terms of contact, weight forward, okay, narrow stance, come down, try to get a nice big flat spot here. And I know, you might hear sweep your driver, hit down your wedges. Well, believe it or not, the best players in the world, they don't hit down their wedges that much. They're maybe, 5 degrees down. I know some of them are 8 degrees down. But I would say for the average player, if you can even get 3 or 4 degrees down, that would be fine. That would be good. I want you to picture brushing that ball off the grass. I want you to picture that airplane landing as it comes into the ball. Hope that helps. Good golfing.